When you think of starting a story about clothing, you might imagine a glossy urban center, people meandering through a skillfully designed maze of racks and mannequins and signage, or a minimalist website with an infinite scroll of polished product photos. But behind all that product and marketing, the origin of our jeans, whether it's a cotton farm or an oil rig, but more on that later, looks nothing like the place where you buy them. And as I stood before the rolling acreage of Carl Pepper's farm outside of Lubbock in the northwest of Texas on a warm October morning, the contrast between the luxury marketing and the realities of nature, weather and luck are the difference between success or failure, could not have been more stark. There's a whole world full of people, plants, microorganisms, chemicals, and carbon that also gets bought and sold each time we say yes to a new item of clothing. When it comes to cotton production, the United States comes in third worldwide after China and India, thanks to the pillowy fields of white fluff like those on Carl's farm. More than half of all land used for cotton in America is in Texas, and that land produces 40 to 50% of all domestic harvest. In 2019, 8.8 billion pounds are estimated to be grown stateside. Worldwide, it's grown in 80 different countries, and 2.53% of all land used for agriculture is planted for the sake of our jeans and other cotton things. In 2019, the USDA estimated worldwide cotton production reached 58.5 billion pounds. Carl, my guide for all things cotton, is no gentleman farmer, but a farmer who is a true gentleman. Of average build, with dusty blue eyes and sporting a baseball cap and long sleeves to protect from the harsh Texas sun, he gave off a good Christian farmer vibe, but with a renegade spirit and a keen mind for numbers. His words were easy on the ears. They were delivered with a light southern drawl that I found so appealing that I actually had to stop myself from trying to mimic it. The Pepper family has been in the United States for centuries. Carl's father's side landed in Texas in 1876 by way of Virginia, Kentucky, and Missouri, with some family having arrived in America as far back as the 1700s from what is now Germany. He was born and raised in South Texas to the west of San Antonio on an 800-acre, irrigated, chemically intense farm. He told me that his father, Leslie Pepper, was among the first generation to use these industrial farming practices to try to enhance crop yields. Carl's father embraced the latest and greatest science to try to tame nature. New chemical products and irrigation tactics helped grow his farm into a successful business that supported his family. Leslie's success even persuaded his sons to follow in the family business. Carl recalled how his father thought nothing about spraying his fields with the new artificial fertilizer with a boom in front of the tractor, completely unprotected from the heavy mist of chemicals. It's just what they did. Chemical farming became popular starting in the 1940s when innovations and supplies for the war were translated for agricultural use. Traditional farming practices, which included the rotation of crops and letting land be fallowed to allow for nutrition to be built back into the soil, became displaced by extensive use of chemical fertilizers and pesticides. It was these chemical practices that Carl inherited when he first took over his father's farm 27 years ago. His inheritance came a bit earlier than expected, though, when, after around 30 years of chemical spraying in 1987, Carl's father was diagnosed with acute leukemia. He died 3 days later. On his deathbed, he gathered Carl and his brothers and told them, "Boys, I'm not sure what I did to myself with all these chemicals." As we toured his field in his white Chevy Silverado, Carl recounted his father's last words with surprising calm. He had clearly reflected on them, and his father's life often. That started a thinking process, he continued. In 1992, Carl had an opportunity to relocate from South Texas to Lubbock. His middle brother, Terry, had come into a piece of dry land, agricultural land that does not require irrigation and only uses rainwater, that his wife had inherited from her grandfather. Terry's wife was environmentally conscious and was eager to convert the land to be certified organic, a standard that the government was rolling out that year, thanks to much citizen demand.